Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1026. I am Stephen at Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Welcome to August, everyone. For what it's worth, it's August now. It's a month on the calendar.
It's a month, all right, yeah.
It's a month with 5 RFS releases.
And that's true, it is, which is potentially more RFS episodes in the month of August than has historically been the case for Doctor Who episodes. I might be guessing at that. I know that season 1 stretched into August with the Reign of Terror. I think, didn't Let's Kill Hitler air in August, I think, too? August
Maybe? I think so, yeah.
Yeah, August has never been a particularly
But that was also after
month.
that. It was also after that mid-season gap.
It was a
Thanks,
mid-season
Battlestar
gap.
Galactica.
Yeah. Those
Well,
days.
we're going to have a big mid-season gap soon, so.
Yeah, well, we're in it.
I don't know about mid-season, but gap, yes.
Mid-era gap, how about that?
Mid-era gap. I mean,
A gap bigger than the gap.
Yeah, bigger than the Grand Canyon. I've been to the Grand Canyon, speaking of 5, I think I've been 5 times to the Grand Canyon. Can you believe that?
I've never once.
It's grand. Nope. It's huge. It deserves to be seen. It's a canyon. It deserves to be seen, Warren.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that involves going to the United States of America. So
it does.
2029, anyone?
But yeah, hey, listen, 2029 doesn't even feel like that sure of a thing anymore either. So we'll see.
Yeah, we've gotten rid of years. We don't need them anymore. They're useless. They just distract people.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate that some of the greatest natural wonders of the world does exist in the conterminous 48 states, but that's a story for another time. This episode begins our massive 4-part miniscope on director Jamie Magnus Stone, who did 8 episodes across like 2 and a bit seasons of Jodie Whittaker's time on Doctor Who. Today is going to be Spyfall Part 1 and Praxeus, not Part 2. Expressly not Part 2, because he didn't direct Part 2, and it was made an entirely different production block. But be prepared, kids. Be prepared to possibly look at the Jodie Whittaker era in a new light, because I think I certainly did, after having not really watched it much since it ended. And watching episodes again for the miniscope, I came to appreciate it a lot more. Chris watched.
I never disliked it in the first place, but
no, but you know, once you put it behind, then once you have another era that comes after it that you just assume is going to be much better looking at the very least, just because it's got Disney money, it's got Disney money. Let me tell you, the visual look, which is what we're focusing on here, kids. The visual look of the Chibnall Whittaker era is pretty cool. So,
well, yeah. I mean, as we would have talked about, possibly in the Stone miniscope, I don't know, but certainly in the past in general.
Ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Certainly, it was more than 2 weeks for the first part. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's when they started using those new anamorphic lenses and switched to the 2:1 aspect ratio and DNEG, as people will hear you talking about multiple times. DNEG was involved, and they did amazing work. So the visuals and all that, and then don't even get me started on things like episode 2, like when they're shooting in South Africa, just the scenery and the landscapes and everything it doesn't just look great, it was shot great.
It was. It really was. Yeah.
So there's a fantastic confluence of things that just made that era look phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the Disney era doesn't look bad, but it's more like this Moffat era in that it looks good, but it looks averagely good, I guess, compared to the distinctively good is how the Jodie Whittaker era looks.
Yeah. I'd forgotten how you're right, Warren, how distinctive it looked. And but not distinctive like bad, but like distinctive, like just like notable. It was a notable shift in how Doctor Who
Part of that's the music
looked.
too, though. Like that in your head, because the music is different, that also changes how you perceive the visuals, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen to that later on in this episode. All 4 parts, by the way, are on our Patreon feed for our Patreon supporters, because we record stuff like this sometimes well in advance of when it shows up on the main feed. We have a couple commentaries out there already on or they will be. I think one's going out, and another one is that follows that one. I'm deliberately not naming them because I know some people like to be surprised when the randomizer lands on what the next commentary is. Those are already out there. I'll tell you this, kids. Later this weekend, speaking of going back and watching things, I've long promised / threatened to do this, and we're finally doing it because in the build up to the War Between the Land and the Sea. The 5-part spin-off from an existing property that was made as Russell T Davies is essentially going out the door of Doctor Who. We are focusing on another 5-part series that's a spin-off of the main program as Russell T Davies goes out the door from Doctor Who by doing Children of Earth. We're rewatching Children of Earth 1 episode at a time. And that'll come out, I don't know, October, November, something on the main feed. But once we record all 5, it'll go out on our Patreon feed early. So if you want to support us, and we do appreciate it, by the way, patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. We're watching the first episode this coming weekend. But
yeah, just for the sake of information for those who may care, all nobody of you out there probably. So when Children of Earth first aired in 2009, it ran across 5 nights, Monday to Friday. And given our recording schedule of doing it on a Saturday or Sunday, it made it very very tough to give it its fair shake. I mean, obviously we liked it and whatnot, and I really look forward to watching it again. It's been a lot longer since I watched it than the Jodie Whittaker stuff, but
yeah.
We wanted to give it its fair shake as well. So it'll be done with talking about 1 episode at a time, not the full 5. So
I know I have to keep telling Warren. Yeah, I have to keep telling Warren not to watch them all in one go. And
I'm not going to. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go old school, and I'm going to play it via VPN and the iPlayer, and then I'm going to AirPlay it to my living room, as I did back in the old days. Right. Hopefully, the bandwidth will be a little better now.
Well, hey, good thing you can VPN it off of iPlayer, because let me tell you, kids, that's about the only streaming home for Doctor Who in the world right now is your BBC iPlayer. Sure. We mentioned earlier that it was leaving HBO Max at the end of July. It has. Doctor Who is no longer there. I don't think Torchwood was ever there. But knowing this, and I thought, hey, let's see what how Prime is. Maybe it got the Jodie Whittaker episodes since they're not there anymore. Maybe they show up on Prime. Doctor Who, modern Doctor Who, is not available on Prime in Canada either. It's gone. Mm-hmm. It's gone. There is no modern Doctor Who available anywhere in the U.S., Canada. From what I gather on Threads, all kicking off on Threads, kids. On the thread that we posted there, Europe's never had it on streaming. Mexico, I don't think, has it. So there's no home right now in streaming for any Doctor Who made between 2005 and 2022.
Got Battlestarred is what happened.
It did get Battlestarred. It 100% did. Battlestar Galactica, of course, very famously not on any streaming service for the longest time.
It isn't.
Yeah,
it's that's why I have the Blu-rays.
Yeah, and and sure, if you're a fan, if you're an existing fan, you'll buy the Blu-rays or DVDs already and have them like we do. But for people who are hey, we're talking about Doctor Who, about Jamie Magnus Stone stuff and Jodie Whittaker stuff. Well, we can't point you in any direction where to find it now. Hopefully you got those episodes. Hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a people who buy these things and have them on hand to watch them if you want, and aren't just relying on streaming services. But for those people who are looking to experience the show for the first time, good luck. Boo.
Apparently, it's no longer the case. But I remember somebody telling me a while ago that ABC iView in Australia had a new Who, but right now it just says program not currently available when I look for anything over there.
Even Australia.
But as I learned about, because I don't know a heck of a lot about the day-to-day of Australia, the Facebook thread that was posted yesterday by you, Stephen, more than one person in the comments mentioned some service in Australia called Stan, which has Doctor
That's
Who.
even dumber than Dave. Actually, it's about equally stupid.
Why are we
to
just
Dave.
naming shows and streaming services after guys' first names?
It's actually just a guy down the block. Oh, it's Stan over there.
Yeah.
Probably the same reason the radio stations all became like Jack FM or whatever. Anyway, this Stan thing is between $12 and $22 a month in Australia, which has some Doctor Who on it. I don't know what, because I don't know if I can actually search without paying.
Is this Stan? Is this just like a guy named Stan and his Plex server? Is that what this is?
Yeah,
like
that's
this,
exactly what it is.
Yeah, this just feels
It's just like the Simpsons thing. Let's ask the Prime Minister. Hey, Bruce. And he's just in his waiting pool, just one acreage over.
Prime Minister. Fully accurate representation of Australia.
Full-on streaming service. They've got an add-on for Premier League football and
Oh wow.
whatever else. So.
But still, look at the effort one has to go through. Remember when it was on Netflix, the glory days?
We should also point out, though, if you're in the UK, you've got almost all of it in one place.
Oh, as Russell T Davies' Doctor Who was keen on pointing out, and therefore they could throw in references to all that stuff.
But that is the biggest audience for Doctor Who in the first place. So.
Yeah, I suppose so. Except when you're trying to
it's
sell
the
it to
biggest,
Disney
but-
Plus. But yeah. Per capita, I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure it is the biggest audience.
I have seen just spurious rumor mongering that, that's because Disney is negotiating to get it all. I'm like,
Not a
okay,
chance.
sure.
Not a
We'll see
chance.
about that.
Listen,
my gut says no.
I wouldn't be surprised if come December 10th, which is I always think of December 10th. Might be purely a coincidence, but like December 10th or December 9th was the last of the 3 Tenet specials. Also was weirdly like December 10th was the final day of shooting for War Between the Land and the Sea. Like they had to race to get to that date. It almost felt like it's like why this compulsion for ending on that specific date? And I wonder if is that when War Between is going to actually drop and then like the rights are going to expire or something like that?
Well,
is that going to be like 2 years or something?
I will turn 55 on December 15th. So what a way to ring in my 55th. Thanks a lot, Disney/BBC.
I know. Yeah. I am wondering. So this is unrelated, but it's worth mentioning. But occasionally HBO Max will air stream some programs from other places. They did it for AMC Max or AMC Plus rather recently.
Well, there's that ITV cross branding.
Well, that's in the UK. I'm talking about
yeah.
in North America though, because they were doing that in North America. They were ITV actually showing HBO stuff and vice versa. But in the States, their HBO Max is starting to show for a couple months some BritBox programming.
Huh.
As a little, hey, why don't you sign up for BritBox? It does kind of like BritBox is, it's a lot more successful than I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you that much right now. When I first heard of it, I was thinking, oh God, this feels like a veggie burger that if I don't buy it, it's gonna go, belly up. And so
or worse, if you don't buy it, it's going to sit there until you do.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, we'll have to defrost it for 5 to 7 minutes. I think, okay, at least I know it's a veggie burger now. If you were telling me it's going to be ready in 30 seconds, no, you're cooking a meat burger. No, that's not a veggie burger. You got to scrape off the freezer burn first and then fry it up. But BritBox is doing well, and I'm wondering if maybe BritBox will become the home for all of Doctor Who. It's already there for classic Doctor Who.
I was going to say, you can still get classic there.
Yeah, it feels
and a zillion fast services too.
Yeah, fast services have classic Doctor Who up the yin yang. But I'm wondering, this is pure speculation on my part, if perhaps BritBox might become the home. Which honestly, I would prefer that. If it's not going to be anywhere,
most sense thematically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like all of Doctor Who in one place, and maybe they even get the Disney stuff. Maybe Disney will say, "Listen, we're done with this now. Do you want it? Do you want to wash our hands of it?"
I doubt it. It strikes me the kind of thing Disney will just sit on and then take off their service and not do anything with.
Well, yeah, but will they just take it off and just have it there? Yeah, I know. We still have the rights to it, and you don't have the rights to it, but we'll keep
I feel like watching that new Willow show. Oh, no,
right? Exactly. They took Willow off, a show they made. They took it
and
off.
spent probably considerable sums of money on.
Way more than Doctor Who, that's for sure. Got rid of it. So So anyway, just keep checking every single streaming service out there, everyone, to see if Doctor Who shows up on any one of them. Because there was no announcement when Doctor Who showed up on Prime in Canada, let me tell you. I just happened to stumbled across it one day. So maybe BritBox, if they actually do get it at some point in the future, they'll actually advertise that fact, which would be kind of cool. So.
And if you're looking, use the app Just Watch, which is actually very good for finding out where the hell stuff is or usually isn't.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it misses stuff, I will say.
True, but but it's better than just guessing.
That's true. Yeah. Gives you a good foundation, I guess. But even then, like sometimes, it's on Prime. Oh, no, it's not on Prime. It's on like Prime channels, that like that.
Yeah, with the little box next to it. So it's like, I got to spend money, do I? All right.
It's like, I could pay for a TV channel that is also offered through Prime, and therefore it's on Prime. It's not really on Prime. You're watching like Stack TV or something here in Canada or something like that. But anyway, Chris, you're about to say something there. I feel like I cut you off with regards to something there.
Oh, I was just going to say, just make sure to subscribe to all the services. All of them. Doctor Who shows up on any one of them.
You never know. You'd never know when it's gonna show up. It's just like,
nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Sign up for all the fringe ones too.
Yep, Crunchyroll. It's going to show up on Crunchyroll.
I don't think I would call Crunchyroll fringe.
No.
Even if some people may consider anime fringe.
No, it's
I
true.
think Crunchyroll's a little too big and power and money laden these days.
That's true.
Which I never saw happening when anime started. Well, it didn't start, but like when I was aware of it in the 90s and just as a young nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, think of like, because I'd see you at the occasional Baka meeting and whatnot back in the day. So
now this is a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Bonsai Anime Club of Alberta.
That's right.
So thing at the U of A with just people hanging out watching anime. Anyway, yeah, like if you think back to your Baka days, Warren, like could you imagine could you imagine that there would be like international reception to anime streaming services, a paid streaming service?
Nor could I imagine my complete lack of interest at this point. So there's that too.
Well, okay, so Doctor Who won't be on Crunchyroll, then is what you're saying. We'll try to keep an eye on it for you kids. That
CBBC one, it's going to be animated, so
the
you never know.
That's CBBS.
CBBS. You're right, CBBS.
Yeah, I only say that so I don't make a mistake later on in the future. But yeah, I'm curious of what we're talking about. Is the BBC put out a call for any prospective program makers to make literally a CBeebies version of Doctor Who to start airing in 27 and 28, I want to say. 52 episodes, 11 minutes apiece. I think the deadline closed like a few weeks ago now, July 10th or something like that. Curious what kind of offers they got. Curious. And when we'll start hearing about who the winner was, or winners perhaps, I don't know, or what the results of that was. But because that now appears to be the official future of Doctor Who for now. So
it's the only announced future, such as it is.
Yeah, and and like we just sort of assumed that maybe Bad Wolf would be part of it, but like given the Comic-Con presence was only BBC Studios, there's no Disney, there was no Bad Wolf at all. I wonder if this thing is purely a BBC Studios driven initiative, and so not at all like Bad Wolf wouldn't have anything to do with this animated version. Whether or not they have anything to do with any future Doctor Who at all remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Happy days. This is a weird article. It showed up on the Mirror. Nicola Methvin wrote this article on July 31st about missing episodes, and I say weird because it's all based on comments that A, have been out in the public eye for quite a while, and B, that Sue Baldwin, who they're quoting here, said at the Film is Fabulous convention like weeks ago. Like this is like did this just like was sitting in the queue and like was like spinning wheel or something when it hit publish, and it's just published now. Okay, well there you go, because it just feels like weirdly out of time. But if you see this Mirror story going across the wire, more lost Doctor Who episodes will be found soon, expert predicts. It's the Film is Fabulous thing. Where Tim Burrows actually asked Sue Weld on stage about it, and she basically repeated the same thing that Paul Vanessa said on this show back in like 2018, for crying out loud.
Good gravy.
That at least 2 episodes exist in private hands, but they're being well looked after. So there you go. That's your missing episode update. Let me tell you, I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but I feel like enough time has passed since I talked to Paul in person in like 2019. But he told me that the episode, he knows which episodes they are. Just so you know, he didn't tell me, but he did say that they are not too significant. I think that was the quote he gave me at the time. And I sort of like kept still on that. I thought, oh, this will come up very soon. And then an entire pandemic happened and it hasn't come out yet. So when he says like, nothing too significant, I don't think there's going to be a Marco Polo in there. I don't think there's going to be a Power of the Daleks or Evil of the Daleks or anything else. I think we're probably looking at like, oh, look, it's part 1 of Galaxy 4, or like, hey, here's another, an abominable snow. Probably like an orphan episode from an already existing orphaned story, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything of the Wowsy or anything like that.
Like smart people, he doesn't like space pirates, so he doesn't think much of it. Whereas you would be thrilled.
That's true. Maybe he's underplaying it. It's only just episodes 4 and 5 of the space pirates. I would just like, what? Just a dang second here. Space pirates.
Thinking back to 2011, though, like when it was episode 3 of Galaxy 4 and episode 2 of Underwater Menace,
right?
Like those are well, at the time weren't really thought of highly, and I don't think that opinion's really changed that greatly since then. But it doesn't mean that we wouldn't be excited and desirous of those coming back.
I would lap it up.
It's like this Mirror article. I don't know where or how these were decided upon, but allegedly the top 5 most likely to be recovered things are: number 1, episode 4 of the 10th Planet.
Okay.
I mean, that would be great to have, but the really important part we sort of have. Like, it's not great quality.
Exactly.
And it's not like what we find is going to be 4K 35.
And we have a color remade version too, so there's that. Parts of it.
Well, animated at the very least.
Talking about the bits of Twice Upon a Time, babe.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And then number 2 is specifically episode 4 of Dalek's Master Plan.
Yeah, I was curious. The Traitors,
I don't know why episode 4.
Episode
we
4,
know 7 is probably the least likely.
Yeah,
of the 9 missing.
Episode 4 is the clip of Katarina's death, which they used, which exists all the way up until her death. Exists because they they showed it on Blue Peter in like 70.
Yeah. I was gonna say, wasn't that a Blue Peter thing?
Yeah. So it existed in 70, which is odd because as the article states, and you're right, Chris, I don't know why there's this arbitrary ranking of like, here's the stories which are most likely to be found. The fact that it existed like 73 for that was like, oh, so, but you never showed it. You never showed it well, you did send it abroad to Australia, but you still had episodes here, and of course, the 3 episodes that have been found again have been from the UK. So
and the article even says the serial was never shown outside of the UK, which is not correct.
It was there. It was sent. It was never shown. It was Australia bought it. They never. They said this is too violent.
Splitting hairs, as it were. But
yeah.
I don't know if memory serves. Feast of Stephen wasn't.
It was not.
That's okay. That's perfectly fine.
It was not.
It could stay missing.
It's everyone says, oh, that wasn't that'll never, because it was never sent over abroad but I maintain this is not based on any paperwork or anything, because it wasn't intended for sale, I don't think, and so they never in the eyes of the people, they never created a film copy of it to send overseas. The way I look at it is that they were making a whole bunch of different copies in December of 66, I think it was, when they basically made an entirely new version of the archive to replace all the suppressed field film recordings. This is getting a little in the weeds here a little bit. I apologize, but Warren, TV stations as I do. It's not like somebody in the basement of the BBC would go, but let's get these episodes. Oh, not this one. This one probably won't go for sale. No, they would take all the episodes, all the original master tapes, and just make copies of them and put them on the shelf.
Absolutely. Yep.
This is why when people made film copies of the Color Pertwee episodes, there's literally one episode, which is one of the Mind of Evil episodes, that has the little color image switched off like they should have done the whole time so that the color doesn't bleed through on the black and white copies. We're happy for that now because it means we can pull the chroma dots out of them now. But just to give you an indication of what the mindset of the BBC engineer of the 60s and early 70s was, they will just rip and read and do stuff in a row and not really pay attention to it. This is why I think a film copy...
least resistance.
Yeah, this is why I think a copy of Feast of Stephen was made. Whether it survived or not, it's an entirely different story.
What people don't realize is that BBC engineer's job, that's one of many jobs he has that day. He's putting about as much effort into that as he is anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, at the end of the day, yeah, we freak out about it, but it's not that important, especially to that guy way back when.
No.
And from the sales side of things, how many show packages are sold where there's going to be some, I don't want to say dud episodes, but maybe less interesting or less popular ones, just because it's like, okay, well, this is the lot of episodes we are offering for sale. Do you want it? Yes, no, no bargaining, no whatever. Do you want it all, or do you want none of it?
Yeah, I've been watching. Finally, I asked for this for my birthday, like in 2022, and I got it, and I hadn't actually watched it until now. Out of the Unknown is a BBC sci-fi.
Yeah, what's the pedigree of this?
It's a BBC sci-fi anthology series. It ran for 4 seasons, on and off from 65 to 71. And it's fascinating, obviously, because it's from, I'm watching season 1 right now, and I think 9 of the 12 episodes of that first season exist from 65. It's fascinating because the first episode aired October 11th, 65, 2 days after Mission to the Unknown. So like the most stuff of Out of the Unknown that exists ran side by side with a lot of Doctor Who that no longer exists. Like just to give you an indication of just how, flip a coin. What exists in the BBC archives from that time? You just think, 65, that won't exist. It might, or it very much might not be. Anyway, it's fascinating because it's basically like seeing what Doctor Who could look like with a slightly more adult bent, but like with no actual Doctor Who showing up. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of different actors showing up. There was one episode that had like the door sound effect was the exact same sound effect that they would use years later for the Auton gun opening up, like their hand dropping. And I thought, wow, I wonder if we hear the gun shoot, and then a gun shoots in that episode, and it's the Auton gun as well.
Yeah, so it's like a stock thing they had kicking around.
Yeah. Anyway,
for both.
Yeah, it's fat, but like just reading about like what's the what episodes existed of that, like so few of like the I think 69 episode season and the 1970 season, very little exists after that. But the one that's most represented in the archive is the oldest one, which makes no sense when you think about it. Yeah.
Well, look at Doctor Who. What's the oldest like Blu-ray set we have? Season 2.
Yeah, I know.
Darn near everything exists.
Well, and they've been waiting patiently for Dalek's Master Plan episode 4 maybe to turn up and
maybe.
Now this is important. Which episode is the one where they have the Council of Weirdos and the one weirdo walks in with that crazy walk, who I instantly fell in love with?
That's Day of Armageddon.
That exists,
from Dalek's
right?
Master Plan. Yeah, that exists.
It must have used if I saw him walk in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that one exists. Which is great.
And then number 3 on this list, Marco Polo, the justification being many copies of this were sold around the world.
Sure.
Well, as you were saying, like for Master Plan, if the current extant episodes were all found in the UK, then how much does the worldwide sales matter? And then you look at like, Joss Nigeria, which leads us to number 4, The Web of Fear, episode 3. That one is kind of its own thing because we know that exists.
Yeah.
Because Philip
Morris
had that in his hands at one point.
Then he
left,
lost it.
Came back, and then it was gone. Whatever happened to it?
Seeing as he's being, we're really finding out.
Assuming he's told the truth.
That's true. Seeing that we're finding out his true nature on social media these days, I'm happily saying that that's the guy who lost Web of Fear Part 3.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not unfair, I don't think. And then number 5. Again, from the WTF column, the Macra Terror.
Macra Terror.
And according to this, all 4 episodes of the Macra Terror, no less. Not just one of them.
All of them. Based on what, though?
So, yeah, exactly. There's no justification for why it's on this list.
No. Did they just go through like a Gallifrey base thread or something like this? Oh, well, it looks like Macrotera.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Throw darts at a dartboard, like, I don't know.
Which is the same thing.
Because realistically, just the sheer number of Master Plan episodes out there, if another one comes back, I don't think that'd be a massive, massive surprise.
Fascinating,
If Web of Fear 3 came back, again, not necessarily a massive, massive surprise, but I don't know.
Macrotera would be interesting.
I'd love to see Macrotera. Like the animation was, the first time I saw it was watching a recon. And I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed the animation. I'd enjoy watching the actual thing.
Listen. I enjoy. Here's what I'm like. I've gone away from like hoping that and thinking that they'll just find an entire complete story again, just like they did for Tomb and for Web of Fear and Enemy of the World. Here's what I'm hoping for. Kind of like a similar thing to what they found in, 93, I guess, when they were making Resistance is Useless. They found those 35 millimeter Ealing offcuts of Dalek's Master Plan 1 and 2 footage, like the Daleks doing the fire with the fire torch thing, the fire thrower things.
In the jungle.
In the jungle, and some model shots. And they also found that stuff for like space pirates. I'm hoping that someone like stumbles across like, if I can't get the full last episode of the Dalek's Master Plan, like, oh my God, we found like the original 35 millimeter footage of the Ealing stuff where we shot for where Sarah Kingdom dies, like the whole Time Destructor thing. Or, hey, we just found like all the film stuff for the film reel that we played in for Space Pirates Part 6 because Troughton, Fraser Hines, and Wendy Padbury were off shooting location stuff for War Games at the time, so they were actually not in the studio for the final episode of the Space Pirates, so they had to pre-film all their scenes in there. We found that. Like, I'm just hoping for that. This might be the Chris Hayden thing, maybe like some other film editor like kept their film copies of all that stuff, and like this is what I'm holding out hope for. I'm not even holding hope for complete episodes anymore, just like clips of that exist on their original format. That might exist out there, but who knows. Macrotera, though, that'd be intriguing. I don't know why that one's on the list. What do they know?
You would be intrigued by absolutely anything on this list, Steve.
Listen,
people are clamoring for the dance scene. What can I say?
Yeah. The Highland dancing, yeah, or even the clothes messing up machine, which they cut out from the animated version. So that'd be really found footage when you think about it.
Oh, well, thankfully Ian Stewart Black wrote the book. We can just read that.
That's true. Important update, by the way, talking about watching 60s stuff. I'm not going to give the results yet until my search is complete. But the staircase, the spiral staircase.
Okay.
I have blitzed through 7 full seasons of Doctor Who looking for that staircase, and let me tell you, it showed up in places that I had never ever noticed it before.
When you say blitz through, are you like you're not actually physically watching these at real speed? You're zipping through.
I am zipping through. Listen, as a videotape operator over the years, Warren, you know how finely attuned we are to spotting things. Yes.
I'm just saying that's a little more sane. If you're gonna do it this insane quest, this is a better way to do it. Is what I'm saying.
It is, and honestly, the godsend on the DVDs anyway are the photo galleries, because oftentimes they'll include all the set reference photos on those. So it'll literally just be wide shots of the empty sets, which at the time I was going, those are boring and stuff. But like now, no, it's perfect because I found a couple in there. Like, oh my God, it's right there. It's right there. There's the full prop right there. You can see where it ends at the top of it. Notice how I'm not spoiling it just because I know people want to see the whole thing. I don't know yet how I'm going to present the findings of this.
A book. This screams for a book.
Is it going to be like a social media thread? I'm going to do a quick little video and I could share that places anywhere. I don't know. I've yet to find out. But
I've got 10 Acre Films on the other line here. Just waiting for you to.
They said no. Never mind.
They said no. 100%. So
get him to stop calling us, please.
Yeah, I have taken screen grabs of the ball, so I will use those in some point. But
I love, you know how some men will do anything but go to therapy. You'll do anything but watch new TV shows.
Listen, I watch Slow Horses. I'm enjoying. Finally watching that. 3 episodes into season 3.
I'm not quite as guilty, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah. Will Smith, by the way, the comedy writer, and indeed a creator.
Not the Oscar slapper.
Not the Oscar slapper, the much better one, who was written for and starred in The Thick of It back in the day, and was the showrunner of Slow Horses. He's leaving Slow Horses after season 5.
After season 5, yeah, I read that.
I would listen, Will Smith, if you're listening. He's not listening. I hear Doctor Who might be looking for a new show, and I would happily have a Will Smith-led Doctor Who show come into.
How many Thick of It alums do we have in Doctor Who other than Minnie?
We got Peter Capaldi, obviously. We have
Chris Addison.
We've got Rebecca.
What's her face? Who played the Prime Minister?
What?
Wasn't she the Prime Minister?
No, she played Nicola Murray, the leader of the opposition in season 4, but she was in Pyramid at the End of the World. Who else? I think that's it for regulars when it comes to The Thick of It that was in Doctor Who. But Vincent Franklin's going to be in War Between the Land and the Sea. He was Stuart Pearson in season 3 and 4. So there's obviously a pedigree, and there was one Doctor Who joke in an episode of season 3 of The Thick of It. So was it written by him? I don't know, but Slow Horses is pretty good. Gets nominated for Emmys and stuff too. So
I'm glad you finally started watching it.
Yeah, me too.
I watched one episode. I liked it, but I'm just terrible at follow through.
You are
absolutely
bad. Yeah.
Awful at follow through.
There are only 6 per series.
I know. I'm well aware of how terrible I am.
Thankfully, not a huge investment. But you still haven't watched like all of Sherlock, have you?
What? That's
maybe
like 12 years ago. Really? Oh, wow.
I think the last movies I didn't bother with.
I'm just trying to think of like other, I guess even shorter, but just things that had a societal or whatever impact and weren't.
Well, I get easily distracted by books, and also when people tell me to watch stuff, that's instant signal for me to go no.
That's true. Warren is an iconoclast like that. Yeah, don't watch The Horses. Warren's terrible.
That's not going to work either.
Dang. That's right.
I'll end up watching it.
It's good. It's a good show
for some reason.
Yeah, I will tell you, it is a good show. It's British. It's a very British show. And you know what? I could see there are like people, it's the spiritual success of the Sandbaggers. It's not, because it's not shot in multicam, but there are occasional scenes where people meet in public places to talk things in private. I think this has a slight Neil Burnside
British spy stuff.
Jeff Ross thing. Yeah, exactly. So I could see why people would say that, but
I am more likely, and it is on Apple. I'm more likely to because since I pay for the Apple One bundle of everything, I'm paying for this. I'm also use it. So that's why I tend to watch more Apple stuff than anything else, because I'm like, well, I am paying through the nose for this.
It's right there. Erica doesn't like it as much, likes it enough, but wants to puzzle by it. Does not like the Mick Jagger theme song. That is Erica's review of
you can skip
Horses. I don't like skipping things, except for the Enterprise theme song. I skipped that.
You are legally required to skip the Enterprise theme song.
I skipped that. And I'm watching Deep Space Nine again just for fun. And but I bought it, so there's no skip credits intro. I love Deep Space Nine. It is a boring intro. It's just like slow tracking shots of the space station.
I think of the classic Star Treks, I think Voyager, I don't think much of the show itself, but I think the opening is great.
Apart from that impossibly small planet that it flies by.
It still looks flying cool. I mean, that still looks good for the 90s.
The planet's about the size of a football field, and it has rings.
Say it's down to scale.
Yeah.
Great score, too. Like that's a good theme song.
Yeah.
I still remember getting together with a bunch of people at Nate to watch DS9, the first episode first 2, whatever, of DS9.
January 3rd, 1992. I remember the day.
I watched that when it was on ITV or wherever it was.
Yeah.
ITV,
somebody had as you could do back in the day, some people could do back in the day, there was a off satellite recording.
Oh yeah.
So we watched it. I forget if it was the day of. It might have been the day that it hit ITV. It might have been a day or two before. I can't remember. Anyway, they're sitting there, and as soon as the theme kicks in, it's like, because we're used used to TNG by this point, and it's got the zippy peppy upbeat theme,
the homage to the original Star Trek series.
Well, it's by Jerry Goldsmith, so yeah.
Well, I know, but like the Enterprise flying past was a direct reference to the original. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes,
and then you've got DS9. It's just this slow plodding thing, and it's just such a. It was a very stark shift.
Still the best show. I remember watching.
Yep, I agree.
I think I've said this before, but when I worked at ITV, I got into Deep Space Nine because it came in on satellites at like 8:30 on a Saturday morning off whatever the Anik E2 satellite, and it was my job to record it and then cue sheet it for like commercial breaks and stuff. Back in the day, so I would watch it before anyone else.
Oh yeah, back when that mattered.
I know, right? Oh, those are the days. So yeah, I got hooked on it with season 6.
I did. We were talking about the premiere there, and I do remember watching the premiere on ITV and going, I kind of miss turning on TV and there's Star Trek as opposed to streaming whatever. I mean, that's nostalgia for a time that probably sucked in a bunch of different ways, but
it did. I watched a lot of old TV on YouTube, and let me tell you, there's we remember the good stuff, Warren.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't. We always say, let's bring back cable.
Well, we kind of have anyway.
We kind of have already.
That's what streaming more or less is now.
Yeah. Listen, Doctor Who was available once on cable. Now it's not available.
Yeah, it's like there used to be a place you could get everyeverything. Oh yeah, it was called cable.
Yeah,
with commercials, both YTV and space. But yes, it was.
Those
or I guess PBS, WTVS was brought to us by having cable.
That's true.
Star Trek and Next Gen, like OG and Next Gen, are both on fast services everywhere, but Deep Space Nine isn't, as far as I know. I could be wrong about that.
I don't know about that for sure. I know that I bought it, so I don't even bother looking anymore.
Yeah.
So,
but it's just kind of surprising that and Voyager aren't Enterprise for that matter. All the older stuff, older 90s stuff, it hasn't been just pumped in these endless fast channels.
Oh, I know. TNG is they're the.
I guess because they're all in Paramount, right?
Well, so, yeah, they're the golden child too. TNG, They got the Blu-ray up-res and all that stuff. So.
Although with the Paramount sale, it'd be interesting to see just how much of a golden child Star Trek remains, since it's a giant pile of money and it's woke with a capital W. Oh no!
This is why they greenlit a whole bunch of stuff. It says, yep, we're getting 2.5 more seasons of Stranger Worlds, but then we're canceling it. Thinking, really? It's not like you haven't even aired season 3 yet. Yep. Oh, by the way, there's a merger about to close. So, okay.
And then if they don't do anything with Star Trek, they just let it sit there? Or, they'd be crazy not to, right? Like, because it is an asset they own. Why would they get rid of it?
Streaming services are fun, baby. Isn't it a blast?
It's going to come back. It's going to come back all right-wing and disgusting. The absolute apotheosis of what Star Trek is.
Just like military sci-fi. Just like men
it'd be like basically Starship Troopers without a sense of humor.
Yeah. Streaming is great. It's going great, everyone. There's mergers everywhere. There's like 3 companies that own everything.
Not to mention the overall tenor of the world.
Yeah.
Just to move this along, what else is great?
Desperately
Billie Piper is the Doctor.
Thank you, Chris. I was trying to do that. I love that we're like 40-odd minutes into this episode. We have like an hour-long Miniscope coming up after this. There is no Doctor Who anywhere at all going on in the world right now, yet we still fill 40 minutes. You're here for this, kids. This is your weekly home for aimless Doctor Who banter. Let me tell I bet you right now.
What is wrong with you, and what is wrong with us?
You missed this. You want this to happen. You love the banter. You love just talking randomly about Doctor Who nonsense.
I did. Sorry, I smell a bit of a gaslight happening right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway. It happens to each of us in our normal lives, together or not together. So I mean,
that's true. Yeah. Chris, what happened at FloridaCon? Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper on stage together at Florida SuperCon. What? Yeah. None of us watched it, but
none of us watched it.
There were articles. There were reams of articles written about the fact that Billie Piper said that, how can I be vague about this? It happened really last minute. I'm thinking, I got that impression.
What a shockaroo that is.
Got that impression. That was basically a weekend jaunt a couple days before broadcast.
It's a lull in visual form.
Yeah. Well, like Warren said before we started recording, the execs probably took a look at their contact list and like, whose phone number do we have handy? And
clearly it's alphabetical by first name. So
I think it was like, it would be grand, Billie Piper. They've always laughed that it would be Billie Piper, so let's just make it Billie Piper. Just like I always said, it's going to be the Ronnie. Oh, let's make it the Ronnie. Oh, I see. I think he just had a brain. Russell T. Davies, I'm talking about. I think he just had a brainwave. Like literally, what do we do?
You're probably right.
We could just do it and just fade to black, but no, let's just throw Billie Piper in.
I mean, the rest of the episode is thrown together casserole, so it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, that's true. Completely rearranged and stuff, disappearing Susan and all that nonsense. So yeah, I don't think Billie Piper's going to be the next Doctor. I don't think you have to worry about the Billie Piper era. I think it was just done on a lark because there was a last minute decision that we either fade to black as Ncuti Gatwa was regenerating, or we throw in Billie Piper and get everyone talking, and they chose the latter.
As much as RTD has to work within the system, I can still see him being enough of an iconoclast to say, screw it.
Yeah.
3 years of Billie Piper. Let's get her signed.
Sure.
And now it's somebody else's problem.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
It might be.
I don't think he's having to worry about that.
And again, I can't stress this enough. Billie Piper, great actor. Nothing against her. This is a silly decision.
It's dumb. Yeah. Full stop.
Well,
there we go.
We'll see what happens. I'm really, really, really hoping it becomes what you had said, Stephen, and there's like just some children in need or whatever thing with her where it's, explained, where whatever has happened is explained, and
she's the TARDIS of the moment or something.
Oh, I don't know.
And dismissed in lieu of,
an actual show.
Somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, as time marches on and the weeks that it's been, it does feel like it's going to be the last one for a while. Let's just throw Billie Piper in there, knowing that we won't have to worry about closing that door.
Somewhere the tea is getting cold.
Yeah,
I think it was you, Stephen. It might have been you, Warren. But one of you two had said how her inclusion, her presence would definitely get people talking, and it did.
Yeah, that's Stephen probably.
Here we are, a couple months after it occurred, and still talking about it.
Yeah, fair.
That's the no. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
And
thing.
that only works. That's not just us. That's like mainstream media.
Sure, that's great. It's great to talk about our show, our favorite show that we built our whole lives around, like it's a joke. It's fun. It's funny that basically when Doctor Who came back, it was like, oh, Doctor Who's become a joke. They're putting Daleks and Kit Kat commercials now, and like there's cameos in Looney Tunes movies. We have to put a stop to this and make Doctor Who respected and proper again. And then the era ends. The whole era ends with Doctor Who being a joke and Billie Piper regenerating.
Doctor Who has never been respected and proper. Let's be honest about that.
Hey, for a while it was.
They did ridiculous, silly nonsense back in the 70s and 80s.
Not
too.
like this though. This is dumb.
This is dumb, but it's been done before.
Look at like the Lenny Henry's famous bit,
which is on a parody, yes,
or Francis Saunders, or any of the other comedic takes,
or the 80s. Or the last episode of Strange New Worlds,
or what's his name, Colin Baker turning to the screen and saying Blackpool, or not saying Blackpool. That's how they ended one of those. Like it didn't make any damn sense.
No,
or. William Hartnell turning to the screen and wishing everybody a happy Christmas. Like this show is not above such nonsense.
Yeah. Or even you talk about like Looney Tunes back in action with a Dalek cameo. That was before the show came back. But also in the 60s, what wasn't a Dalek picture on for merchandise?
I know that, but the show was also being watched by millions.
I'll spend my Christmas with the Dalek.
And
the show was being watched by millions because there were 2 channels, whatever it was.
They should have. Yeah, you're right. Like, they should have canceled.
None of this excuses the Billie Piper
ago.
Doctor Who thing. No. It's silly, but they've done silly before.
Well,
and they will do it again.
I saw a thing the other day. I can't remember where I saw it, who wrote out anything of the sort, but basically it was along the lines of, so if Billie Piper's the Doctor, like, are you just going to suck it up or what? Like, what? Let's say an announcement comes with Piper again, 3-year. Let's say she's officially signed a minimum 3-year contract, will be the Doctor, etc., etc.
Sure.
I mean, are you going to be like somebody who's like, oh, that's not my Doctor when Whittaker was first announced?
No. Here's the thing. I don't have to worry about it because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Probably true.
It was done as a joke to end a season and an era of Doctor Who because there was no era or season on the horizon to come after it. So they ended it on a joke. I watched that and going, well, I know they're never going to have to pay this off because it's never going to happen.
Yeah, you're absolutely probably right about that. But to take Chris's like thought experiment here, if she became the Doctor, I'd be like,
not.
She's a good, sure, but let's assume she did for some reason.
All right.
She would be fine as the Doctor, is what I'm saying. Like, I would get over it, as what I'm. Like, she'd be perfectly good as the Doctor.
Sure.
It's dumb that the Doctor now looks like one of the companions.
I can't even like. I place as much like credence in this as like, oh well, you know what? I played.
I'm not placing credence. This is a thought experiment.
I know, like thought experiment.
What if?
I don't care about the thought experiments. There
All
we
right,
go.
fair enough.
How's that sound? It's like somebody go, oh, I just traded Connor McDavid to the Maple Leafs in this video game that I'm playing. What would it be like if he was there? Let's do a thought. It's not happening. So I'm not even going to devote any attention to the Billie Piper. Like, it's funny how like, oh, well, 3-year contract because like, oh, all the doctors have always signed 3-year contracts. So they instantly just like, because that's the way it's always been done, that they just assume that here comes another 3-season contract with Billie Piper this time as Doctor Who. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that necessarily.
I'm sure you're absolutely right. It was just a lark at the end, which is its own kind of stupid. But, but nothing against, like if they had, I don't know, a current everyday pop star who we had no idea if they could act or not. Then I might be worried.
Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa, there you go. Nothing against Dua Lipa, but yeah.
Harry Styles showing up at the end of a Marvel
Harry Styles
movie.
shows up as exactly.
It's exactly what this was. It was a mid-credit sequence, essentially, with Harry Styles as Doctor Who, knowing that they will never have to worry about working him into a Marvel movie because it's never going to happen.
Well, come on. After the incredible success of The Eternals?
It's true. Is that what that movie was at the end?
Yep.
That was the Harry Styles?
That was him at the end, yeah.
Anyway, Ncuti Gatwa. Remember him? He was Doctor Who once. He's been promoting his new play. We've already forgotten the name of, something to do with teeth.
Born with Teeth.
Born with Teeth. Christopher Marlowe play that he's. So he was on Lorraine show, not talking about Doctor Who at all. Warren watched that one. He watched that whole clip.
Yeah, he talked about. He basically acknowledged he was in Doctor Who. That was the extent of the conversation.
But the headline or the subject line is like opens up about his time on Doctor Who. He did nothing of the sort. He's very good at not answering questions. He should be a politician, actually.
Yeah. And then he was on the One Show with Jamie Lee Curtis, of all people. And and he, although earlier in the clip, he sort of says that he's nervous, that he was like, he sort of like misspoke or something like that. And he says he lamented that he never faced the Daleks or the Cybermen. And maybe I'll just go do that. And like everyone's going, what does that mean? What, like, it's not going to be on TV. Is it Big Finish? Did Big Finish roll along and say, listen, Gatwa, do you want to maybe come along and do some plays for Big Finish?
Yep. I mean, that was my initial reaction, was like, maybe he's going to do Big Finish, but
that's what everyone's reaction. The second they leave Doctor Who,
he would be good in audio. He's very expressive. So
yeah,
honestly, obviously we're looking in certain pockets of the of the internet that maybe we shouldn't look in on, but I don't think I've seen any articles in the wake of this. It's only been a couple of days, of course, but I don't think I've seen any articles in the wake of this saying Big Finish. Everyone's running with the story of, oh, he's coming back to Doctor Who, he'll be back on TV with Ncuti Gatwa. And all I can think of is, no, that's not the case.
No, it's not. Regenerated into Billie Piper. I don't know if you heard that or not, but yeah, regenerated into Billie Piper.
We certainly didn't talk about it for the last 20 minutes. You didn't grouse about it for the last 20 minutes.
No, I never did.
They'll be back for a special 63rd anniversary story in cinemas. And it's going to be 63rd because of 1963.
Oh,
based
my
on
gosh.
Who Shot Kennedy, the book.
There it is. Oh, there we go. You've nailed it. Dodo will die of syphilis.
Based on Who Killed Kennedy. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yes. That said, on the One Show, Jamie Lee Curtis kind of like goading him and whatever. That was kind of cute.
It was.
And I saw some of their interview with her the other day. It was her and somebody else.
Lindsay Lohan, because they're in that new Freaky Friday.
No, it had nothing. The other person had nothing to do with Freaky Friday.
Oh, okay. Freakier Friday. Yeah.
It was Jamie Lee Curtis and somebody else, and she was doing the exact same thing, just goading the person beside her, and it was just really cute.
Well, she's in her Give No F's era, which I love.
She
is very firmly in that era. Yeah. Having said she'll make sure she retires from Hollywood before she gets, dumped like her parents.
What a queen. What a damn queen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's telling it like it is.
Yeah. Long-term wife of Sir Christopher Guest. So
that's true. Coming soon in Spinal Tap.
And an insanely long career when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like she started, she was like maybe 20 in Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing beats True Lies. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, apart from the horrific AI upres that they did for the Blu-ray recently.
And the misogyny inherent in the actual show.
That's true. I haven't seen it for a while, but it used to be like a weekly feature on A&E. Remember that? Remember A&E, broadcast TV? Yeah, back when
also, this was a pre-9/11 film, so its treatment of Arab terrorism is a bit something or other.
Oh,
that way.
That's a good thing to remember.
I put forward that nothing with Tom Arnold could at all be bad.
I would put forward that you're completely wrong about that, but okay.
It's right up there with Billie Piper signing.
He's got the Apprentice tapes.
I think he was kidding, Warren. I think he was kidding.
I can never tell with Chris.
No, don't think he's we all know that he's more of a Roseanne Barr fan. Then Tom Arlen certainly took her side in the divorce.
This is just taking heat off you and your Piper jihad.
A little bit. Jihad. There's another bad thing about Arabs. Anyway, Torchwood. Let's talk about some Torchwood before we get on to the Miniscope, which is an hour long, and we made you wait an hour for it. I'm so sad. See, this is what being a Patreon supporter gets you. None of this. It gets you right to the meat. This is all potatoes. This is all potatoes right here. Anyway, Torchwood Child Free, with Indira Varma returning to the role of Susie in Who They Kept Killing, apparently.
They keep killing her.
First season. Anyway, that's the new Torchwood monthly release. That's out now. Also, coming soon, Wicked. That is timely, Mark. In TARDIS, the Seventh Doctor Adventures, Wicked, ! Is due October 2025, around the same time that the second movie of Wicked.
Well, they can argue prior use, right? I mean, so.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah, but I'm just a little bit of a mockbuster title there is what I'm going to say.
When did the book come out? The book came out early 90s, I think?
I think so, yeah. I did ask questions about what the hell is this, because I didn't know what Wicked was. I didn't know until I saw the first trailer, literally like a week before it came out in theaters, that it was based on The Wizard of Oz. No idea.
I knew about the book because it was a huge hit when I was working at a bookstore.
Blissfully unaware. God, it's great being unaware of things sometimes.
It's not the ultimate in theater, kid. That's Hamilton, but it's pretty up there.
No,
theater kid
I think this is, now that Hamilton's sort of come and gone. I think this now
is the new herald of.
Yeah, it is.
The book came out in 1995, apparently.
There you go.
Yeah.
Still long after Doctor Who and Ace using Wicked. So
anyway, Sylvester McCoy,
or even the people living in the sewers in Happiness Patrol, even before it came out after they used Wicked as well.
By the way, is Wizard of Oz public domain yet? It's got to be close.
No, it's like 30. Oh, the book, maybe the book.
Yeah.
Well, we won't know until we find a low budget grindcore horror movie made about it, and then
and there probably is one out
Toto
there.
kills the zombies or something like that. Okay, now we know it's public domain. Now Toto kills Winnie the Pooh or something like that.
Toto fights Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
Steamboat Willie version.
I watched that.
I'm not against that. I would totally watch that.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it 100% is.
There's also a Bambi one coming out at some point as well.
There is. I did see that. Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz, the book, was published in 1900 and entered the public domain in 1956.
Oh my God!
Wow.
You could be doing you could have spent your entire lifetime and then some, Warren.
Well, now that I think of it, there's been a lot of really crappy animation. Remember that '60s one with Wizard of Oz?
I don't.
It was just
I watched
absolute
that.
Garbage. It was an ITV staple.
I enjoyed that.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
The wonderful, not the wonderful. What was it called? I'll have to look it up. Anyway, that's what the Google AI overview says. If I look down a little bit further, the Wikipedia article says 1954.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with Wikipedia.
Anyway, Big Finish, Seventh Doctor Adventures Wicked, not based on, although it very much could be. It's perfectly in its right to be based on The Wizard of Oz.
Tales of the Wizard of Oz is a 1961 animated TV series.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Well done. Because
that would have been 5-ish years after it hit the public domain. So
good work.
Rat hole.
Nice work. I felt like the last few seconds there was like I was doing a different podcast than the rest of you here. So I don't know what we're doing now, but I think
we're going off on tangents.
I think we're done.
I'm not.
Now we can go to the Miniscope.
We can do the Miniscope now. Okay, good. That's also so to recap. No new missing episodes yet. Doctor Who unavailable everywhere. Billie Piper is not the Doctor. Neither is Ncuti, except iPlayer in the UK. Enjoy your fiefdom there in the UK people, because you're the only people who can watch Doctor Who without owning it now. Billie Piper's not the Doctor. Ncuti Gatwa is not the Doctor. The Wizard of Oz is public domain. So is Bambi and Winnie the Pooh.
I was going to also say Alanis Morissette is not the Doctor.
Not the Doctor either.
Not yet.
Not yet. Canada version made by Nelvana coming in 2027. And with that...
More that Alanis Morissette had a song called Not the Doctor.
I didn't know that. And I don't care anymore because now it's time for the first part of our talk about director Jamie Magnus Stone in the Miniscope.
Could be a theme park for the future. Or it might be inside a Miniscope.
Oh, shut up.
A Miniscope, yes, of course, why not?
Hello, listeners. Yeah, thus begins our massive 4-part Miniscope on modern Who director Jamie Magnus Stone, who directed 8 episodes total, including the longest episode ever made, The Power of the Doctor, which will be the finale of this whole thing. But today we will focus on the first half of series 12, broadcast in January and February of 2020. What heady days though were. Remember those days? The very cusp of the pre-COVID time. Ah, wow. Splendid.
Such optimism before everything went to hell again.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so glad COVID only lasted those original 2 weeks.
It's so great. We just took 2 weeks off and everything was fine.
It's gotten to the point where you can pay. You have the privilege of paying for your vaccines in Alberta.
Yeah, that's true. Whenever this comes out, recording this in June, by the way. But we'll be talking about Spyfall Part 1, not Part 2, and Praxeus, the 2 episodes that were Jamie Magnus Stone's first official foray into Doctor Who, and of course the 2 episodes that were mostly shot in South Africa. But I tell you what, as a preface though, Magnus Stone, his first paid gig on directing basically was doing some second unit stuff for Nightmare in Silver, believe it or not. He originally tried to get a director's job on that, but didn't. And but what he did is do occasional shots here and there of picking up things, hand stuff like that, and then also directed at the same time the Clara and the TARDIS short. That was included on the DVD, I guess, season 7, series 7 Blu-ray / DVD. That was a little thing there, and also directed The Last Day, the little teaser that went out before the Day of the Doctor. That he also did that as well. So his first paid foray into television directing was that. Then he went off and did some other stuff, and then 7 years later, his full-fledged directorial debut on Doctor Who. I didn't watch The Last Day or Clara and the TARDIS.
I did. I watched The Last Day.
Yeah.
I remember at the time thinking it was video gamey, but...
Also, apparently, which I don't think I knew, he directed the John Barrowman scenes from Fugitive of the Judoo.
I did not know that either.
Probably during the production block of the next 2 episodes that we'll talk about next in the next Miniscope. That being Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children. But we'll focus on this here. Chris, I'm
gonna throw out a quick little plug first. Yeah. Radio Free Skaro number 892. Get Back from Gallifrey 1 2023. The live show. Jamie Magnus Stone was one of the guests, and there's stuff you can listen to there.
He was, I know. I also listened to the very first episode of the Confused Adipose podcast on YouTube. He was just starting out 8 months ago. Now he's got 36,000 subscribers on YouTube. But his very first episode was talking to Jamie Magnus Stone for about an hour about everything like that. I watched that. It was a good little interview and stuff. So I gleaned a lot from that too. So thanks, Confused Adipose, for that. Basically, saved us from doing the same job, asking the same questions. We might even link to that if we remember to. But do find, if you probably already know about this, if you know about this show, you know about Confused Adipose on YouTube, where we talked to him, or he talked to him rather, and it was interesting that it was recorded in late 2024, I guess, probably, and Jamie Magnus Stone was kind of between jobs at the time, just because of the industry and how it was going, and just because it was the first time during his directorial career that he didn't have a job to immediately go to after finishing one other job. So modern TV directors, great at what they do, but in this day and age, in the state of the industry, still tough for talented directors to find work, even because there's fewer jobs to do. But But boy, I mean, Chris, you recently, before we did this, tore the cover off your Jodie Whittaker box set and basically watched all of the Jodie Whittaker era anyway on your own before this.
Yeah, sheer coincidence, yeah.
Yeah, well, so it probably wasn't as much of a not a shock, but a surprise. I don't know, what would you say about diving back into the Jodie Whittaker era? It seems so recent ago, but it also seems so long ago. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's only been a 3 months, whatever it's been. I don't know. Welcoming and warm, I guess. I mean, as much as such a thing can be. The one, as we've talked about before, probably innumerable times. It's one thing to have to sit and watch an episode of Doctor Who for this, to try to pick it apart and talk about themes or whatever. It's another just to sit and watch it. So I was glad, I guess, retrospectively glad to just sit and watch it and enjoy it. And now I've watched it again for this, and it's, I don't know, yeah, comfortable.
Warren, what about you? Diving back in the Chibnall era.
The way I actually texted you yesterday about this, I said, this is pleasingly free of bombast. Like, it's just kind of like a nice, I'm not going to say it's all creatures great and small level cozy, but it's cozier, it feels like, I'm not going to say proper Who either, but it feels more like the Who we all know and love.
And yet, you say lack of bombast. What an opening, honestly, to a season of Doctor Who.
True. This is for the Jodie era. This is bombasty, but it still doesn't feel like any RTD2 opener, like, at all.
No, but I mean, do you remember foreign location shots? Remember when they would Doctor Who went to foreign locations to shoot? It's fascinating that it never really happened in the first iteration of RTD Who, apart from like they went to Rome to shoot in the studio essentially for Fires of Pompeii, and did a couple of second unit stuff in New York for the Dalek two-parter, and then Moffat,
full on proper New York for Angels Think Manhattan.
Yeah,
Utah
but like
too,
post RTD, like they went to Spain a few times, and and to shoot various things and on the moon, and in a town called Bercy, and then like the South Africa
Lanzarote for Kill the Moon.
Yeah, and then the Whittaker era, they went to South Africa on a couple of occasions to shoot stuff for Ghost Monument and Rosa, and now in the second season for this, and of course COVID curtailed that idea, and they've never really gone back apart from the war between the land and the sea, oddly enough, shooting somewhere in Spain, as we'll see. But that was the first thing that just like, oh right, they went to South Africa. This like the vistas and everything else, like it was doubling. It's doubling for Ivory Coast and a whole bunch of other places, Australia eventually as well. But like just the sheer breadth of locations, and I thought like, Doctor, it didn't really look cheap. Like I was expecting, like, okay, Disney Who will look like
it looked cheaper. But it didn't look cheap.
Did it though? Like how much would you pay for a whole bunch more CG or something in the background of shots, or would you rather see a nice vista in South Africa?
It looked like, I don't want to crap too hard on RTD2. We did plenty of that before, but it looked and felt different. That's the main thing.
It really did. Yeah, it did. Say what you will about the writing of the Chibnall era, and thankfully we are not going to comment on that as much today. We're going to talk about the directing of Jamie Magnus Stone, but the look of that Chibnall era,
especially Spyfall,
especially by Spyfall, the anamorphic lenses just lend a different feel and look to everything. The Sagan Akadola music really added to a different feel to it.
Yes.
I find it amusing you're talking about this as though it wasn't all there in season 11 as well, which it was.
It was there, but Spyfall Part 1, I remember saying at the time, like, this is as bold an opening to a season as I remember Doctor Who ever doing, And
as we're going to say many times, I don't doubt, nothing to do with Jamie Magnus Stone, but the marketing around Spyfall. Kind of being as deceptive in a good way as it was, with like all the publicity shots of the fam in tuxedos, but no sign of Sacha Dhawan, even though he was there.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Editing him out of the trailer and everything. Yeah.
Also, I love her tuxedo. I love that it's basically her costume, but a tuxedo. That's brilliant.
The short pants are great.
Makes me laugh every time I see it.
I know. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff that I really like about this. The one thing that I pulled from the Confused Adipose interview, and you'll appreciate this, Warren, is that just based on everything that he does, is that he likes to like storyboard as much as he can and stuff, and do like sort of like animatics, not using CG. Often what he'll do is he'll shoot quick little things and says, "Well, what do I use to represent the Doctor and other people in there? I know, I'll buy action dollies." Actually made animatics and storyboards using Doctor Who action dollies.
There's a thing from Making Return of the Jedi where that's how they planned out the biker chase on Endor. Is they had Star Wars action figures and the crude little bikes, and they would shoot it on crappy video to figure out how to do it.
The guy who was responsible for choreographing the car scenes, like the high speed stuff down the motorway. If you watch the little 5-minute making of thing that they had with it, first look,
I think it is, closer look,
the guy responsible for the choreographing the car chase stuff did the same thing with little toy cars as well.
On the road,
brought them out, put them on the road, and just kind of showed and demonstrated how it was going to go down.
Was the final thing with because CG cars are like dead simple now, and that's almost every ad you see with a car is CG. Oh, it's all practical. Okay, that's practical. I'm even more impressed then. It would be tough enough with CG cars, but
all practical effects for those. The good old days of practical effects, everyone, of shooting stuff in 2019.
Good old days of 2019.
It does, no, honestly, for a bunch of reasons. The good old days does feel like 2019.
Yeah. You know what else jumped out at me too, is that there are a couple shots that I really liked in Spyfall Part 1. I like the shot when they're playing, I love how the episode starts. Well, it just sort of starts like, here's catching up with the TARDIS time team, basically what they're doing back on Earth and everything else. And Ryan's playing basketball. And there's a shot where he misses the shot or something like that, and the camera sort of like tracks over as it's panning over, looks at his reaction, and then goes back again. And there's another shot where when they're introduced, Yaz and Ryan are introduced to what's his name, the bleed villain played by Lenny Henry, and his assistant and stuff.
Oh, Daniel Barton.
Thank you. And there's like a tracking shot all the way around them during the course of the conversation, and it reminded me, Rachel Talalay, when we were recording this, recently posted a shot of a show, I can't remember, some American show from the early 2000s.
Without a Trace.
Without a Trace, thank you. And, about how they planned it out as one entire shot. Basically, we shoot this, people giving their statements, and then they do a quick pan over to the action. And like the flashback was basically you shot in the same take, and then back over here to the rest of it. And it was all like sort of choreographed and shot and planned out as one take. And then it was ruined in editing by someone else who did not have the same vision that Talalay had. And as I watched a couple of those shots that Jamie Magnus Stone did, and I thought, if that was done today, some editor would have ruined it. And I feel like we're, just because...
No, to be fair, it's not the editor.
Done outside of the UK.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, just done outside of the director's vision. I think the director still had the vision back in the Chibnall era. I think it changed in the RTD2 era.
But that's not the editor's fault. The editor's following the orders of the person above them.
Exactly.
They can give their cut, but their cut is not the final cut. So.
I enjoy how you talk about the episode opening that way when, in fact, you skipped you skip the sniper and the worst Mile High Club ever.
Oh dear, yeah, you got a point there.
I know. I just wanted to just I wasn't going like timeline. I'm just sort of talking about the director's vision. I think was still prominent in this era of Doctor Who, as opposed to now. I think it's a little more directors gather footage and we sort it out in editing. I think Magnus Stone clearly has a vision towards making these episodes, and that's the great thing about watching these.
You talk about Talalay, and I can't remember specifics at this point anymore because enough time has passed, but Talalay has even said how she enjoyed doing the RTD2 stuff less than she liked doing the Moffat stuff.
Yep. For very similar reasons. Yeah.
So whether that's Bad Wolf, Disney, RTD, or whatever, whatever influences or confluences that director's vision definitely seems to be reduced between the 13th and 15th Doctor's eras.
And she's also said American stuff is way more assembly line than British stuff.
That too, and it's sort of veered towards that in doing the Star Beast, but which makes it nice to watch Jamie Magnus Stone stuff here and realizing that we're mostly seeing a director's proper vision of an actual episode in this.
And given the amount they hired him across 2 seasons,
right?
Obviously, they thought the same thing.
They did too. Yeah. What a sequence to start out. The bit in the sniper bit in Ivory Coast, and then the plane. I think it's almost obligatory if you're going to shoot something inside of an airplane bathroom, you have to shoot it from above just to give you an indication of,
because there's no room to do otherwise,
of the scale that what you have to work with. Yeah.
Well, that's how they introduced the shot, but they still had stuff over the shoulder. When she's, yeah. So, but yeah, as I put, worst Mile High Club ever.
And please, nobody write in and prove otherwise. I don't want to hear about it.
But even with the cold open stuff, when the one guy goes to the safe house to get away from whoever he's running from, just even the location and the way they shot that was phenomenal. Like the super duper high ceilings, the overhead shots of like him on the couch. At one point, like they park the camera and leave the shot static as the guy like flops down onto the couch and his head is like perfectly in frame. Like you got actors hitting their marks and setups going exactly the right way, which is nice to see when that pays
you can
off.
Definitely tell they just planned this stuff out. There's a great shot, just to skip way ahead, where they end up at the hangar and they pull back from the hangar to them driving in on their motorbikes and getting off. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. That is really nicely done.
Yes, but I had a different note about that one. So there's all these vehicles parked near the hangar. And just the way the camera was positioned and the way the motorbikes and whatever, where they stopped, every single one of the vehicles had their number plates obscured.
Oh, okay. Well, makes sense.
Because I was curious. I was kind of curious to see like if they had number plates, if they bothered putting properly located U.S. ones. And I don't know.
That's good direction.
The shot obscures everything.
That's sleight of hand, as you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yep. Hide the flaws, basically. Also,
Exactly,
is a director's job. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hide the flaws, hide the potential inconsistencies. And,
if you can't see it, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Economizing. Perfect.
You know what? I've never actually noticed or paid attention to it. Does the Disney era of Doctor Who use anamorphic lenses, or are they back to not that?
I don't know. I did notice there's a ton. This is not an anamorphic lens thing, but there's a lot of shallow depth of field in this.
Yeah, well, I think it is an anamorphic thing. I think it is an anamorphic thing based on,
because there's a lot less of that with our RTD era stuff. But to be fair, there was probably a lot less of that in what's his name, Moffat's time too.
Yeah.
Also, it was kind of a trend back a few years ago, and that has kind of fallen out of favor now. So that could be part of it too.
I like the
look
look of it.
Fashion
though.
is a better way to put it.
Yeah,
I do too.
Just like the overall the color. Like I must admit, I'm not really. I don't notice. I couldn't pick out differences between color grading and everything like that. But I like the look.
There is color grading. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I love in this is the use of light, because there's a great shot where they've cornered one of those creatures in that sort of like glass case.
Yeah.
And it's got the Doctor on the left and she's bathed in white light, and then this thing on the right. And I'm like, it just looks really cool. And also, just to jump to the end or near the end, where they're in Australia and those lights are going on and off.
Oh my God.
I'm like, it's great. It's effective and it's dirt cheap. Like, it just works.
It does, yeah. That whole sequence where the two guards are outside the compound and the lights are flickering, and like it's directed with real like menace and tension.
Yeah, like it's properly scary.
It is. That's really well made. So we are jumping around a little bit here. I realize, but
one of the elements of that I'm going to put out there is, and I said this before we started recording, God, I miss Saginaw Akinola and his score from the Whittaker era.
Yeah,
so we got to meet him, which is cool.
He was on our show. So was Jamie Magnus Stone.
Was that the same one? Okay, yeah.
It was a different show. But I'm weirdly nostalgic for the Chibnall era from 5 years ago. But most of it, I mean, even at the time, I thought I remember saying during the Chibnall era, and especially during the Ghost Monument and this stuff here. Like, I don't think Doctor Who ever looked better at that time. And honestly, I'm still kind of thinking that I like the look of that era, of that anamorphic lens, the way it was shot, the way it was color graded. That era,
it wouldn't have fit with this current era. Like if RTD did it that way, I don't think it would have worked. You know what I mean?
It's weird because it's looking at something like, say, the Next Doctor versus
Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead, yeah. Great example, because they're one after the other. But looking at the one, looking at the other, the going from SD to HD was a big jump. But going from HD to what we got with those cameras, those lenses, the ability of the technology in 2018, it's still a massive step forward.
It feels more film-like.
It does. Yeah, it does. The aspect ratio was different, of course, for the Chibnall era, in keeping with the anamorphic lenses, which they kept because of Rachel Talalay. He says, what do we do? Do we keep this aspect ratio? And Talalay says, well, we did that. We just came off of that. So, yeah, let's keep that. So, like, yeah, you could tell it was more of like they kind of let the directors handle it in this era, whereas opposed to, I think everyone sort of needed to. I don't want to turn this into let's compare eras and stuff like that, but it's such a shock going back to this after watching 2 straight years of the most recent era of Doctor Who. It's always interesting to see, an era that I haven't paid much attention to, let's face it, since it ended, and going back to it was a weird breath of fresh air, I have to tell you.
Also, I just love that crew too. Like, I just like the interplay between all of them.
And that was one of the most refreshing things about going back and watching those Blu-rays recently is reacquainting myself with all the stuff that I didn't know that I missed. But just as a quick aside, and I can't think of any specific examples off the top of my head, but I have seen so many other shows shot, maybe not the same lenses, but certainly the same aspect ratio, same style, in the wake of the Whittaker era, that I don't know if that's now becoming like it's not like a default setup, but it seems to be a more common setup than it was back in even 2018.
I wonder how much of that is Whittaker era directors going on to do other things.
It could be that.
Probably very little. Honest, if I had to guess, I'd probably guess very little, but I don't know.
It's weird how it looks like a Sunday night BBC show as opposed to a Saturday night BBC show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a very good way of putting it. Yeah,
it's like it was I don't know if it was intended to be like, we're going to be on Sunday nights now at a different time. Let's make it look a little different. I don't know if that was a conscious decision or not when they were airing it. But it just feels like a different night of the week. You know what I mean?
It
like,
wasn't Broadchurch the same insofar as there was a...
It was a Sunday night thing, I think. Like Sunday night is like the prestige drama night, which is what they were sort of going for during the Chibnall era, and never went on Saturdays. And at the time we thought, what are they doing? How dare they go off of Saturdays? And I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? In retrospect...
That comes out on Friday morning, so whatever it was.
Yeah,
Saturday morning for me, Friday night for you guys, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a conscious decision to make it look different to what came before, or more aligning to what it was going out against at the time.
Oh, maybe, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. There's a certain maturity to the look of Doctor Who in this time period that is evidenced, I think, in the stuff that Jamie Magnus Stone shot here.
At the same time, the only thing I remembered up to watching this, and thoroughly enjoying it this time too, was the Doctor being a complete goofball at the card table. That's all I remembered.
Snap.
Which is great. Like, I absolutely love that bit.
The Doctor had quirks. Remember quirks? Remember when the Doctor had quirks and stuff like that? Yeah. At the time,
Whittaker definitely enjoyed her quirks.
I enjoyed the quirks of Doctor Who. I like it when the Doctors are more eccentric like this. And the companions had different roles to do. And when Yaz goes through her experience where she gets transported to that weird,
that's horrific. It's really well done.
It is. It's treated as a horror thing, and instead of like just sort of laughing it off as a quip, like it clearly affects her. And there's a great scene where it shoots her in the outback there, where Ryan sort of comes in and checks in on her, and the way it's shot and her performance in that is like treated like an actual, like, this is a really scary thing that just happened, and you could tell there's two different, because one she's crying, and the other angle she's not, and that's a slight you could tell one quick little look, you could see a teardrop from her left eye when she's turning towards face of Ryan there, but
at the end of the scene,
yeah, you know, so that's a natural reaction. That's the great thing from Mandip Gill, is that tear quite clearly came at that exact time. It wasn't like a planted tear, so to speak.
If I may, I'm just going to throw one other little goof that I noticed out there. When the SUV is going on its own, or remote control, whatever. When the SUV is being driven and it's getting to that point where the road ends, and there's all those traffic cones, pylons, whatever, at the edge of the roadway, the SUV brakes against one of the pylons. It's tipped backward a little bit. It doesn't get knocked over, but it's tipped back a little bit. And then right after that, you see an overhead shot where the SUV is not as close to the pylons and not touching them, and not, you know, tipping one over kind of thing. So, bit of an inconsistency there.
The thing is, I mean, a great example is the "Am I a clown to you? Do I amuse you?" the scene from Goodfellas. None of that, absolutely none of it matches, and nobody notices, and it doesn't matter. Because you're too caught up in the scene. If you're caught up, because I didn't notice, and I'm not saying it's wrong that you did. I'm just saying that, you know, if they're doing their job right, it can be inconsistent, and it won't matter as long as the flow of it works.
Fair. I mean, we how much hand waving do we do for writing gaffes?
Yeah, true. Yes, and many other things.
Less than once upon a time, perhaps, but still.
As a fan of the Sarlacc pit sequence from Return of the Jedi, ever since I was a kid, there is one glaring shot that happens right as Luke is being pushed out and is about to jump off, and then grabs the plank.
Oh, I know exactly the one you're talking about. Yeah,
and they reversed a shot. They reversed a shot because they were maybe thinking the geography of it. Like, wait a second, he's already moving this way, but then he moved that way because they shot it from the other side. So they literally just flipped the shot for like 2 seconds in editing, and it jumps out at me every single time. And if a massive big budget Star Wars film has to do that in 1983, then they probably
every single movie is a car crash in one way or the other. Yeah. Or TV show for that. It's all thinking on your feet. Yeah. No matter how much money they got.
It is. Sure. It is. You know, all the scenes shot, like the car chase scene in the vineyard, for instance, was not a late addition, but it was a late addition to the shooting script, we'll say. And so he wasn't able to storyboard any of that, and that's a big action sequence of like driving through
70 zooms in there, though.
Cornfields and everything else, and so one
of my notes was the overhead drone shots that were used in the vineyard chase.
Yeah, which are really good. Well, those are basically
relatively new at the time too.
Yeah. You know, there was those storyboards. Like, he basically sort of like, well, let's do this on the fly. Let's see what we can do here, and, you know, gathering as much footage as you can, basically, because sometimes you do have to rely on what you're going to do in the edit suite. Once you see everything put together, hopefully it'll work out. That's another aspect of directing too, is just getting all that coverage. So much stuff is probably shot that is just never ever used, because
the last thing you want is to be sitting in the editing bay going, "Oh God, we got nothing.
What do we do?"
You just do not want that.
How can you ADR a scene of a car chase? You know, like and like he had to the motorbike driver who they got to double for Jodie Whittaker on the motorbike basically fibbed and says, "No, I actually can't ride a motorbike. Sorry."
How likely is it that all of them can ride motorbikes? I'm like, statistically speaking, that seems unlikely, but okay.
Yeah, so Jodie Whittaker's actual bike riding double was like this buff guy who, like, at the last minute had to sort of sub in. So I didn't go back and look at it very closely, but these are another things that you just sort of have to like shoot around, you know, like, okay, we can't be as liberal with our shots now of Jodie Whittaker on the bike because it's quite clearly not her. So that's another thing you sort of have to work around.
Speaking of differences, when Stephen Fry shows up, and it's, you know, he is an enormous man, but also, like, I was like, oh wow, she is short. I keep forgetting that because she's the doctor, right? So,
yeah.
You're going to say, Chris, you were saying something there.
You say enormous, Warren. I mean, it's all relative. But.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, but compared to the average human being in the population, and not Land of the Giants fellows like yourself.
Yes. What was I saying? I don't know. Probably something, but I can't remember. So don't worry about it.
I remember DNEG. I like their work on this. I know, the director tells him what he wants and they'll do it. But I just remember even like the very first episode, Woman Fell to Earth, just the look of the little button that Ryan presses in midair, and just the overall effects look to it was different. And what the Kasavans, I guess they are. Like I said, I didn't watch part 2 of Spyfall, so I don't remember how the story was resolved. But I just like the look of them. It just looks different to anything else that has come before or since on Doctor Who. And
one thing in particular I like is when they come out of a surface, that surface is on them, which is creepy as hell. I was like, that's really cool. Especially when one comes out of a bookcase and those books are on it. I was like, that's nicely done.
In C's office, there's the one that comes through the old Union flag, old torn Union flag. So the Union flag is impressed upon them. And then the other one whose head comes through the portrait of Queen Victoria, same thing. That's on the Kasavan. It's great.
It's really well done.
The voice of the Kasavan is fantastic.
Yeah, also good too. I wonder how much, is that a whole production issue? Decision, how they're going to sound and everything based on the fact that we'll see that plot line resolved in a different production block with a different director, or does the first director set that in place for the second director to sort of pick up? It's a rare instance, Spyfall being a 2-part story that is completely made in different production blocks with different directors. It's a different thing, so it's a unique thing that this does here. So we're focusing on part 1 and not wrapping up all the stuff in part 2, which was perhaps the stuff that we didn't think too well about. But boy, howdy, part 1 sure looked good. I remember that.
What about, we haven't talked about the master reveal, which I thought was very well put together.
I love the first shot of where he's sitting on the porch.
He does a great job. Yeah,
and you just see him from behind, and then we cut back to him, and then the TARDIS materializes, but it happens right in front of him, and then the camera tracks over, and the TARDIS is now there, having materialized. And I thought, that's cool because it's a bit of a hat, sort of like a weird thing about how. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's trying to say something about this is actually the master, so why the TARDIS is like that. It's also just a great way of saying, let's save some money and not do a regeneration effect and have it here. You hear it land, and then we pan across and seeing that it has landed.
That's perfect. I'm all for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I think, literally a bajillion. I can say literally because that's not a real number.
Right.
I think there's literally a bajillion choices you could make as to how Sacha about Sacha Dhawan's performance, like just to talk about it. Then I think for the most part, it's probably safe to say that it's not something that Jamie Magnus Stone eked out of the actor.
No,
I think it's just the actor's natural ability. But the one I had specifically mentioned in my notes was there's the super tight close up on him when his fake identity is blown.
Yeah.
Like the whole sprinting conversation on the plane.
Yeah.
And just his facial expressions and just like I miss him as the master. It hasn't really even been that long because, he's there all the way through the Power of the Doctor. But I miss him. I miss his master. As unhinged as Missy was, I think Dhawan is equally as unhinged in a radically different way.
Yeah.
And it's just
Missy's my master, but you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just sit and watch his stuff all day.
Also, I love where he's talking to Graham, and it works both ways. If you don't know he's the master, it works fine because he's just kind of curious, and but then if you do know he's the master and he's getting enthusiasitic, and don't you want to find out about her? I'm like, I see where this is going, and I like it.
That's the writing, obviously, not the. But
but it's also performance too.
Yeah, exactly, and you're right, and because he's like, I've got, on top of that cupboard there, I've got all these files on the Doctor back when he was a man.
But he's not telegraphing it. He's like, if you know, but it's not obvious.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just one of those joyous little things that when you go back and watch it again, once you know the reveal, once you know the big ending, that it's just that extra layer of enjoyment.
Yeah, and the neat thing is that they shot the master scenes essentially at the very end of the production. Without a chance, and they hadn't had a chance to rehearse the plane sequence yet. So basically, the director and the crew are discovering Dewan's master performance as we see it. Like basically when they shot it is when they saw what he was going to do with the role, which is just fascinating, you know, because let's face it, we're born of the age when they rehearse for 2 weeks at the Acton Hilton and then they shoot it for 2 days on BBC Studios and multicam.
And the reels weren't that great most of the time.
Yeah, you know, and all the performances are usually not a surprise by that point because it's been hammered out in rehearsal and everything is expecting it, and then so to actually have like that, you know, spontaneity on set on the day is kind of cool, and good for Jamie Magnus Stone to just say, okay, let's go with it. Let's see what we do with this, and let's work around your because they're the little quirks that he does. I love his like slightly panicked, oh, where's the pilot? And he sort of like runs around and sits in the seat. I love the way that Dewan sort of like when he shows the shrunken person in the matchbox and then he closes it up and he's wanting to put it back in his coat. I can't, whatever. I'm just gonna throw it away. I just love the way he does that. You know. Like that, you know, plus, a director, it sort of like fosters that kind of environment that where such improvisation could sort of happen.
I also love that they go, you know what? We're just going to show a crappy little thing like they did back in the old days. Like it's just, if anything, it's even crappier than the CSO little doll guys back in the day. Yeah. But I love that commitment to that.
Yeah.
One little thing I'll throw out there just to go back to something Warren mentioned about the voice of the Kasavan. Apparently it was done by Struan Roger, who also did the voice of the face of Bo in New Earth and Grimlock.
Oh, wow.
I knew I recognized that voice from somewhere, but I couldn't think of where.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I did write a bunch of notes for this. I think we've mostly covered a whole bunch off. I mean, the cliffhanger itself is pretty well done too. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I said ropey plane VFX, but still better than Air Force One
from '97. Hey, yeah,
I won't hear anything said negatively about Air Force One.
Hey, that plane is terrible.
Love that movie. Wolfgang Peterson can direct anything, and
I agree. It's all good. In the Line of Fire is great.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I made some notes as well. The only one that we haven't yet covered off was the in the TARDIS after C's assassination. And it's not uncommon for them to be using handheld stuff in that set, but there's a lot of handheld stuff that was shot, and for the most part, the camera was kind of like jumpy and jittery, and it was just kind of a visual tie-in to the frenetic stuff happening in the story.
Mm-hmm. Paul Greengrass, that's what I wrote.
Quite
down.
good.
It's very much Born Identity and United 93 type.
Oh my god, yeah, camera movements in Born, sure, yeah,
but not quite shaky camera. I like some of the shots of following Jodie around the TARDIS interior. Just the way they shot that. I still prefer the Gatwa TARDIS interior.
Well, they don't move around anywhere near as much.
Yeah, I know. It's just like they don't use the set as well as they probably could. But there's the big huge scene set in this TARDIS set. I like the way that it sort of moved it around. It's more of a claustrophobic kind of thing.
The Gatwa set, or sorry, I'm not going to call it that. The 14th Doctor set, because Gatwa got robbed of being the one to have the new set.
That's true. Yeah.
First,
I'm taking it back. I'm giving it to him.
I think that despite the size and scale and whatever of that set, there's still about as many, possibly even fewer places to plant a camera and shoot it than on a Capaldi set, Whittaker set, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can obscure a camera in, right? Whereas it's just a big empty space, so you can't really.
That's true.
Yeah, or even like the multi-level elements of Capaldi's console room, like that there is more potential there than the new giant gleaming set has.
Yeah, like
also I love the visual of the Jodie with the TARDIS up on like a car lift thing, just going into the weird pipes at the bottom. It doesn't make any sense, but who cares? It looks cool.
It does make no sense.
Draining the water slides and the rainforest floor.
Yeah,
and all that.
With the same goggles.
Yeah, I love her gadget. The aspect of her that she's a total gadget head and likes to tinker with this kind of stuff. Real Third Doctor vibes there.
Yeah, there really was.
Clearly, they missed a crossover opportunity with Top Gear.
Or did they miss it? Really? No. Wasn't that the time when Clarkson et al. Were in some controversy?
Quite possibly.
After that. It was after that.
Although I will give Clarkson this, one of the greatest gifts of all time. Oh no! Anyway. That's a great gift.
Yes.
Very useful. It's a clip from Top Gear.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is.
This was like a 57-minute episode. It didn't feel like it was stretching at any point. It felt like properly paced and just like enough action in it. You know, it was a good episode of Doctor Who. I really liked it.
I didn't watch right till the end, and maybe they had like other localization stuff on the Blu-ray is an hour or two.
Hour two. Geez, there we go. I was guessing at 57, but yeah, about an hour, a long episode. Honestly, bring back hour-long episodes because I just felt everyone had things to breathe. I like the scenes where, you know, that we see all the companions doing their stuff and everything. Like the characters had room to breathe again, and it was well shot and it was well made. And I really like this. I really liked this episode.
Part of that as well is the fact that even 10 episodes versus the 8 we've been getting lately, that's still 25% more room to breathe, as you say.
Yeah, it is. You were allowed little quirks from the Doctor's
have those character development moments.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Stone, but I did enjoy how the various characters talking about how tech is going to get even worse were absolutely right on the money.
Yeah.
And at one point in my notes, I said, Daniel Barton is impossibly rich, powerful, evil guy with his own agenda. Sounds implausible. And I also said, this guy might be evil, but he seems less evil than Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. And he could probably rock the Oakleys a lot better, too.
Well... I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg would tie his mother up on a chair.
I do know that Mark Zuckerberg would do that. Look at that guy. Come on. Look at that goofy, permed Joe Rogan. We need more masculine energy. And that's a mother tire-upper. Give me a break.
Mother tire-upper. Fortunately, we won't have to deal with that because that's in a different episode of Doctor Who directed by a different person. Lee Haven Jones. Lee Haven Jones up there. Anything else about Spyfall Part 1 and only Part 1 before we move on to Praxius?
That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
Nope, I had my list done.
Okay, well, good stuff. If you haven't watched it since, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, Spyfall Part 1. Recorded when the COVID-19 virus was about a day old, just in case you want to give it a birthday present.
I love them when they're young, these viruses.
New Year's Day 2020. Later on, Praxeus, also shot in South Africa, with a whole basically I forget that it leads off from a cliffhanger from Fugitive of June, right? Where
I was a little confused actually.
Yeah,
walking into this,
where everyone goes off in separate places, and we don't even see the TARDIS time team for a long time. And what I really liked about this, and this is not a Magnus Stone decision. This is something that sort of happens based on the writing and everything. There's no pre-credit sequence. There's no perfunctory cliffhanger that we have to get to. Post that, we can sort of get into the story on its own terms, and so we can have the first shot being Ryan Sinclair running over the horizon in the background out of focus be the first shot of any of the four time team travelers, and we can sort of like lay into the actual episode in question. But your opening thoughts, Praxius?
I like how the time team is split up overall. It's kind of weird watching it because Graham and Yaz are in Hong Kong and Ryan's in Peru and the Doctor's in Madagascar. Mm-hmm. But there's the bit that's when what's her name? The woman in Madagascar that Ryan meets up with.
Yeah,
Gabriella. Gabriella and Yaz are doing their thing in Hong Kong, and they do they follow the dude through the teleport, and writing, not direction, for the most part anyway. But I don't know that I liked Whittaker's Doctor being okay with Yaz and Graham off doing their own thing, and not wanting to let Yaz do her own thing with Gabriella. Because she says no, and Yaz has to convince the Doctor to let her do it. It's
right.
You just come back in an hour, pick me up. And the Doctor's 1 hour, just very begrudgingly lets her go off and do the further investigation, which I don't know. It seems kind of silly because Yaz sees the piece of tech that she threatens to destroy so the bad guys are stopped in their tracks. Mm-hmm. And that's what she wants to go back and do, but the Doctor just doesn't want to let her do it on her own.
An intentional Yasmin fuel ?
Yeah, well, protect her perhaps. A little
Maybe
character thing.
I mean, that's us grafting our own silliness onto this, but
That's true. Much like the Thasman thing in general was grafted
by
fans and then inserted at the last minute by the actual people making
What's
the
interesting
show.
is how we were driven into a frenzy by that, and then when the Doctor and Rogue kind of hook up, the enthusiasm was dimmer, I think. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, because it didn't build up over the course of...
and I guess it already kind of happened with Thasman, so I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, and Girl in the Fireplace has been done before, too. The Doctor's suddenly in love after 12 minutes, as opposed to a sort of building up of a relationship. I will get to it, I suppose, but I like how Chris Chibnall sort of said, he deliberately, when he wrote the first scene in Flux, for instance, which we'll get to in week 3 of this miniscope, how he deliberately wanted to show that a whole bunch of time had passed for the Doctor and Yaz, essentially for Big Finish to step in and put their own spin on things like that. So
well, Yasmin's that's one thing I liked about that. Yasmin knows what the hell she's doing. She's telling people how to do stuff because she's been around long enough.
Yeah, I always like unseen adventures. I like it when we get an impression that not all the character development, hopefully the important bits happen on screen, but sometimes other stuff happens off screen that
like in Time Lash,
just like in Time Lash,
Yeah, Third Doctor and Joe.
Yeah.
We don't ever need to see the Time Lash stuff.
I thought that the Warren Brown's character Jake, I thought. It's another thing about, I'm trying not to compare eras of Doctor Who, but I felt like we focused on a guest character a lot more in this episode. And within 2 or 3 scenes, we get an idea of who he is. He's a cop that's off leave, that's trying to take down shoplifters at a store, volunteering essentially like that. He drinks alone in bars and watches his husband go missing in a space accident and stuff. And I just felt like within very short scenes, through his performance and through the direction, we just got a good sense of who this character was. Economy. That's exactly kind of what it wasn't brushing over it, but was an economy of storytelling that I thought was well at focusing who this guy was. But
yeah. The one scene when when Jake and Graham are talking, and Graham just turns to Jake and says, "Oh, you're quite the catch, aren't you?" And very sarcastically. I enjoyed that bit.
Shot gorgeously, basically as the sun was setting in South Africa.
That's really good.
The shot itself is in my notes. So the sunset / magic hour setup.
Yeah.
For that heart just looked so beautiful.
One thing about this, and actually in Spyfall Part 1, there's a great shot in Spyfall Part 1 where the Doctor's on the laptop and it has her sort of as a focus of it all, and then in the background everybody's kind of composed really nicely. And there's a similar one here where there's I can't remember exactly what's happening, but there's a good shot of action in the background, there's character in the middle, and then the focus of the threat is close up. I think it might have been the bird. And it just kind of zooms back on the bird, which is in close up and in focus, and everything else is. But it's all playing out in front of you, and it's just that's tougher to do than it looks.
Yeah.
In Madagascar when the bird was on the clothing line or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know the shot you mean. It's on the porch in Spyfall where the Doctor's like looking in the toolkit or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really
down,
well done.
but right in front, and everyone else is sort of like, the blocking in that was really cool.
He really likes worm's eye view too, like from the ground, which really works too. There's one in Hong Kong where I think it's in Hong Kong where the plane goes overhead and then they kind of go into the action from the worm's eye view of it.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. All the creepy sequences where everyone's skin turns into flakes and then they explode. Like I thought, and all the bird attack bird attack sequences ever since Hitchcock have basically been the creepiest things ever put on film. And I thought those are really, really well done in this too. It just felt inhuman. It was just an odd that the effect of the scales on their skin just happening, and then they just sort of disappear at a puff of smoke. It was very effective.
My first thought was, well, that's nice and neat. It doesn't make a mess.
That too. Yep.
For the bird stuff, my first thought was, oh, look at all that CG.
If it's good CG though, it's far enough away that it looks convincing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot less effort needs to go into the detail for sure.
Yeah. Because you're not focused on it, and you don't want to focus on it. I don't care as much about what each bird looks like. It's a swarm of birds, The
shots themselves are only a few seconds at most, generally anyway. It's not like you're dwelling on it for 30 seconds, some massive setup, scene.
Yeah, and so occasional shots are sort of shot from the bird perspective, like they go on poor Aramu on the beach.
He does a lot of that, where the threat POV thing.
Yeah, which is effective, but he doesn't overuse it. That's the thing too. He just sort of does it once or twice to sort of get it's a good way of getting the terror of the on the face of poor Aramu who gets eaten alive on the beach.
Classic horror shot, right? So
yeah, what his background is, if he enjoys, because there are some good horror shots in the abandoned hospital bits with the lights flickering and all that, classic tropes, but it works well.
One thing I'll put out there is just very similar to what I mentioned about the cast in the TARDIS in Spyfall. When Jake and Adam are kind of off to the side talking shortly after Adam is injected with the potential cure. Same thing there. The camera was just very fluid and moving and not staying still, not not keeping faces in the center of the frame, things like that. Again, I assume just to kind of echo the tension of what's happening in the scene. But it's not the first time he's done it, because it happened in both these episodes. But he's not afraid to be a little different, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
One other thing I like about not this episode, but also the TARDIS set that they have. Various TARDIS sets are good for various things. And this one, in terms of lighting, there's a great scene where Ryan and Gabrielle are talking in the TARDIS, and the lighting is great on both of them. And this set really lends itself to that, I think. And in a way, Capaldi's didn't, unless you're shooting from the grate on the floor. There's various things. And the new one, it does in a big way. If you want to change all the lights on the roundels, you can, but it isn't. It's more for bigging it up than it is for smaller scenes, right? But here, this TARDIS, because it's so weird and different and full of weird lighting, it just really works. If you want to have a well-lit scene in an interesting way, this is a perfect set for it.
It is, isn't it? And for quiet conversations like that.
Yeah. I don't mind the yellow. That's fine.
Well, this, I didn't, it was the first season where the look of the pillars, for lack of a better term, weren't quite right on camera, so they had to digitally recolor literally every single shot in the first season. So this is the first season where they've actually recolored those pillars to make it look proper on screen.
I never got the hate for this TARDIS, though. I always thought it was good. I never really understood why. I can see, looking at Matt Smith's first season, it was cool to begin with, but it's kind of embarrassing looking now. Right? This doesn't feel like that.
Matt Smith got a revamp, at least.
Yeah. And his revamp is honestly probably one of the best TARDIS interiors ever.
The Pickwoad one, yeah.
I'm still not a big fan of the Whittaker TARDIS set. Never have been.
I've never understood the hate.
Overall, I think the set, it was the least impressive, I think. But you're right, Warren. Just in the individual shots that you could get with it, I thought looked pretty good. You're right. Yeah, that scene was well done, I thought. What else? I felt like, it's interesting, even in the interview that Stone did with Confused Adipose there, he even says, not a lot of people talk about Praxeus as much as the other episodes that he's done. Yeah. Having done the first big intro and then the big 2-part finale, and this is the one in the middle. It might not have as much.
That's nothing to do with him. That's just the way Doctor Who is, right? Also, one of the reasons I have a sneaking fondness for the 13th Doctor's TARDIS is because it's in the VR game, so I've been quote unquote inside that TARDIS. So
that's true. Yeah. Oh yeah. That one. Yeah. That's right.
One thing I put in my notes is, given how visibly windy the beach was, I wonder how much ADR was needed for the episode.
Probably a bunch.
Yeah, but it's not as obvious as some other stuff.
No, that's actually a good thing about that is we talked the other week about whichever episode of Ncuti Gatwa was that had just terrible ADR.
Oh, it was the Ronnie when she arrests Belinda, I think, at night there, just some horrendous.
World.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, the because you can see how windy it is. Whittaker does not have a hair in place the entire episode.
Yeah.
So a lot of ADR was doubtless needed, but it was actually done well.
Yeah, really well. Yeah. Yeah. Competently made. And, a lot of the stuff, as much as they did go to South Africa for all the location shooting, all the studio stuff isn't dirty, cramped little, so like abandoned hospitals, little huts.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Research huts, and that sort of like little like garbage dump at the bottom of the Indian Ocean is essentially like the three sets that you're sort of working around. So you don't have these vistas to play out. So you are kind of like focusing on the characters
and the warehouse in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong as well, like the dingiest of sets on purpose. Like it's part of the drama, but so you kind of have to shoot around all that stuff. But I thought all that looked pretty good, pretty great, really properly gritty stuff. You don't want to try and like gussy up a dumpy location that's needed for the story, and I think they really accentuated how kind of grimy.
It's a real Chibnall trope too. The crappy trash-strewn location. That's
true. Yeah, that's where they sort of discover the pod that Tim Shaw comes out of in the very first episode of season 11. I thought that the scene where Jake, essentially plans on sacrificing himself by piloting the spaceship out into space. I thought the way that was shot and performed, like I thought at the time, well, he's dying. They're turning, they're doing this thing. He's actually properly sacrificing himself. And so when the actual moment comes where the TARDIS materializes around him, it came as a legitimate surprise. I was not expecting it.
I can't disagree with you. But the flip side of that is, he's like, from a character standpoint, so again, nothing to the Stone necessarily, it's more Chibnall and McTighe. From a character standpoint, he's been he's separated from his husband, because that's how his husband describes the situation, as they're separated. And he didn't go to the rocket launch when his husband went to the ISS, and so now that he's got his husband back, who has just gone through this weird bacterial, viral, whatever the heck it was, malady, and has now been cured.
Right.
You would think that typically most people would be like, cool, let's kind of put some effort into this relationship and stuff. And he's like, nah, I'm just going to go sacrifice myself by,
right, making
sure that this positive virus gets spread into the stratosphere, whatever. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like that from a character standpoint.
Well, he's trying to, he's trying to be something. He's trying to be something for, he's quite clearly.
He's trying to be impressive, like he says his husband is.
Yeah.
But
well, he's clearly got some self-esteem issues, right? So I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. This is me stepping up, kind of thing. Yeah.
Which is something that Chibnall wasn't scared of addressing, that kind of stuff. Like, there's a whole episode about depression. I would like to. I wouldn't see Moffat or RTD doing that.
That's
frankly.
True. Yeah. Apart from Vincent the Doctor, but even then,
I suppose. But even then, it's not quite handled as, I don't know, delicately is the right word, but
that's the thing that's that's the kind of thing that the 15th Doctor, given his nature of being the healing Doctor, that's the kind of thing I could see happening in the Gatwa era.
And it's weird because Jodie is the kind of like, no, not the ignoramus Doctor, but just like not picking up what you're putting down Doctor. You know what I mean? So
I know
she doesn't pick up. Doesn't pick up on cues.
Yeah, more alien Doctor.
Very alien. Yeah, exactly. Very alien in that way. I was about to say.
Yeah. Which honestly is what I think the Doctor should be in many occasions, because the Doctor is an alien,
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yep.
Bring back Tom Baker in CGI.
all part and
nostalgia.
Yeah.
All part and parcel of why I'm not that big a fan of the Tennant era.
Nope. Or indeed perhaps the Gatwa era. I thought
Smith was just a goofball, but he was like odd. That's what I liked about him.
Very odd.
Like, he was kind of like Whittaker. He was just not picking up what you're putting down half the time, which is great.
It's weird. I think I buy the setup for the 15th Doctor in the wake of the 14th Doctor more than I pick up more than I take seriously the 10th Doctor in the wake of the 9th. I don't know.
And don't forget the 9th, because of his costume, most people were like, this is a Doctor? He just looks like an ordinary guy. Like, at the time.
Any other things on Praxeus?
I have a random note. I just said, and this is not his fault, but I said bottom of the Indian Ocean, but air pressure is just fine. I call shenanigans.
Spaceship stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go. That's how you do it. Otherwise, yeah.
from a more practical standpoint, I liked the way that they had the ship engine pulsing and like not misfiring so much as taking time to fire up, and just the way it looked was really good. And then of course they had the the fires and the burner, the whatever would have affected the TARDIS people if they hadn't shut the door. And
right. Yeah. Good stuff. I mean, by sheer nature, not as visually impressive as Spyfall Part 1, but hey, it is that one of those middle episodes. This is what TV used to do, kids. It used to have like little big showpieces at either end because that's what you could afford, and then some other ones in the middle. And you know what? It's an entertaining enough story, and probably the least offensive Pete McTighe story that we've probably had at this point too. But we'll deal with that later on when we do a Pete McTighe Miniscope, because now that he's in there for Lucky Day.
Yeah, like I was saying before we started recording, this could very much have been a third Doctor Malcolm Hulk story.
Yeah.
I'm still fascinated by it, and we can't determine this until a couple of years down the road, what we're going to think of the RTD2 era with certain amount of distance, because we are suffering from recency here. It just happened. So like, what are we going to think 2 years from now when it's all kind of squared away and whatever's happening is happening or not happening?
Yeah.
I'm really interested in what our perspective is going to be at that point.
I fully expect not a wholesale change, but a reasonable amount of change in opinion and thought. Because goodness knows that's exactly what happened to me with watching the Whittaker stuff a few months back.
Yep. Me so far too. After these 2 episodes that we talked about here. We'll see what happens in the next installment of the Miniscope, where we talk about Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children, the controversial 2-part finale to Jodie Whittaker's second season as Doctor Who. So that will be on the next installment of the Jamie Magnus Stone Miniscope. So join us for that, won't you? In the meantime and in between time, though, I'm Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.